Should you invest in a beginner DSLR or should you invest in a better smartphone, a flagship smartphone versus a beginner DSLR? Which one of them is a better or a more practical purchase? Well, we're going to find out in this video. So let's look at the practicality of this purchase of a DSLR against a smartphone. Well, if you already have one of these, it can make calls, it runs just fine, it has a decent camera, it has a decent selfie camera as well, the RAM is fine, you have some space. You don't have the that desperate need to upgrade. Then you should definitely go for a DSLR. But sometimes what happens is your phone gets damaged, it's not working fine, it is having some problems, you can't even make calls. If your phone cannot help you in some emergency situation, you definitely need to upgrade. You need to get a better one, a newer one. In that situation, just keep the DSLR on hold, get a newer smartphone. But in case your smartphone runs just fine, then you should definitely invest in a DSLR, just a beginner DSLR. It won't cost you much. Even if you are upgrading to some brands flagship smartphone, it's gonna cost you like 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs. And in case of a beginner DSLR, it's gonna cost you 40 to 50,000 rupees only. The other hidden charges that you have with a DSLR are the lenses. So with this DSLR, I only got the kit lens, which you can see this one. It's a very basic lens. It can fulfill your needs when you are a beginner, but once you grow into this hobby, you'll definitely need to upgrade to better lenses. This is a zoom lens. It cost me around 12 to 15,000 rupees. And once you get more prime lenses and every single lens, for these beginner mirror DSLRs, these lenses will cost you around anything to 10k to 20 to 30, even to 60,000 rupees. These are only for beginner DSLRs. When you get a mirrorless camera, which is a pro level DSLR, the lenses will cost you around 1 lakh. So that is something you have to keep in mind. And let's say you get a flagship smartphone, alright, you have a Samsung S23 Ultra. You already have the lens. This is not a Samsung S23, this is just a demonstration. The better phone is recording the video right now. So let's say you get the flagship Samsung phone. Now you can zoom to wonders, right? But it's a digital zoom, not optical zoom. So I'll put the description of the difference between those in the screen so you can pause and read right now. So digital zoom and optical zoom, all of your DSLR's lenses are optical zoom. So you can see here the lens extends to zoom in. That is something that can't happen with your phones. To a certain extent it happens, but DSLR always will outshine your smartphone no matter what when it comes to image and video quality. Because a DSLR's purpose is only to click pictures and take videos, while your phone has to do a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's a multitasker, while camera is only for photos and videos. That is all. Keep that in mind when you are investing in one of them. So let's take a deeper dive between the image quality. I've already mentioned that DSLRs are much better, but how better are they? So I'll show you the pictures of this Nikon D5300 with a kit lens as well as the zoom lens, and then I'll take some photos of this phone that is recording, that is the Samsung S21FE. It is not a flagship level smartphone, but it is better than your mid-range smartphones. So I will run some photos and then I'll put some voiceovers so you can really understand what is going on and what's not, so you can make your decisions accordingly.
So here are the two images, one taken from the camera and one from the phone. If you can't tell them apart, well, I'll let you know, because the left one is taken from the phone and the right one is from the DSLR. You can tell them apart by their depth of field and how much they focus on. This next picture is taken from the phone, as you can tell, because the background is not as blurred as you get on the DSLR. And the same thing taken from the DSLR, everything behind is blurred, only the main subject is in focus. And I said that it contains a lot of information, so let's apply some color grade to it. And there you can see the colors are really accurate. The picture turned out exactly how I wanted it to be. Let's do the same thing with the one taken with the phone, and it does a quite decent job, but it's not as good as the DSLR's picture, because the DSLR contains a lot of information. It is overall a very big sized image, and it contains a lot of information, so overall just better. Let's try the same thing but now on video mode. So the phone will be shooting in 4K 24 FPS while the camera will go in 1080p 24 FPS, and the settings will be almost similar to each other. As you can see, the results are exactly the same. The DSLR does much better when compared to the phone. It contains a lot of information, and even while editing you have a lot of freedom. You can correct the lighting and the colors, while if you do the same thing on the phone you lose a lot of quality and the image just gets blurred or distorted. So DSLR takes the win here.
Alright, it's time to conclude this video, and while concluding I would also like to talk about the practicality of these purchases and the prices of these things. So a beginner level DSLR will cost you anywhere between 35,000 to 50,000, and the higher you go in the price, there is a likely chance that you can get a free lens along with the DSLR, which is a great deal. And for the same price you can get a decent enough smartphone like the one that is recording, costs almost around 40,000 rupees. If you are going for a flagship smartphone, it will cost you around 1 to 1.5 lakhs, which is a lot and a lot of money. And for that same amount of price, you can get a mirrorless camera with a good lens as well. The choice is totally up to you. But let's say your smartphone is running just fine, it is laggy, but only a little bit. It can get you out of emergency situations. It can make calls seamlessly. It does not really have those big of an issue, right? So at that time, definitely go for a DSLR. If you have a budget of, let's say, 40,000, then definitely a DSLR is a better choice. But in case your smartphone is not working fine, it is crashing, it discharges very soon, and in case you get stuck in an emergency situation, you cannot really rely on this thing, then definitely get a better smartphone. That is the smarter choice. Because smartphone does a lot of things. DSLR can only take pictures and take videos, while your smartphone has to do a lot. Smartphone has become a part of our lives right now, so definitely it makes a smarter choice if you get a better smartphone when the older one is not working well. And also in some cases, people get a DSLR, they think it's a little bit too complicated. They just cannot grasp the concept of photography, so they just leave. They keep the DSLR on their shelves and it sits there like a showpiece. If you think that you are one of those people, then please do not get a DSLR. You will only end up wasting your own money, and this will be a choice that you will regret. So if you're that kind of a person, be honest with yourself and just figure it out what you want and what not. If you are one of those people who will not use the DSLR in case they don't grasp it properly, get a smartphone, because your smartphone can do a lot when it comes to photography as well. By no means it can outshine a DSLR, but yeah, a smartphone is a really, the modern smartphones, the flagship devices, or even the ones that you can get in the mid-range, let's say around 50 to 40,000, those phones can do a lot of stuff. And their pro grade camera, their pro level, their pro mode in their system, it has a lot of flexibility. Your phone can do a lot. So in case you are willing to learn that and you think you need a better smartphone, then definitely go for a smartphone. It is obviously the better choice. But in case that passion for photography is there, definitely you should go for a DSLR. And well, that is basically it. Take a deep dive into your own personality, whether you want it or not. Think about your budget, spend your money wisely, don't make any choices that you'll regret. And thanks for watching.